Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the American Sports Connection. I am your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. I'm honored to be in this man's store. It is the only man to ever win the IWA Mid-South, Carnage Cup, and Tournament of Death all in 1 year. 399 days he was CZW champion. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont.
Thank you for having me on, brother. I appreciate it. Welcome to Bulldozer's Collectibles as well.
Yeah, we're here hanging out in Bulldozer's store. This is, if you're a big wrestling fan, this would be like your haven to come. Now, this Sunday, we have On Point's 4-year anniversary. Man, where's the time gone? Now, I wanted to ask you before we got into the card, how did you meet Laufe? How did that come about?
I first met Laufe, I was probably 2010, and I just moved back from West Virginia to New Jersey, and I wanted to get back into the scene around here because I probably took about a year off because when I was in West Virginia, I didn't really do anything wrestling related. So when I came back, I linked up with DWF in Pennsauken, and when I went there, I went with Xavier because we both broke into the business 3 years prior, and we both started training there. So get the ring rust off and get going again. And while we were training, there was a little guy named Laufe, and he kind of took an eye to us and saw we had potential. When we first met him, he looked at me and he told myself that me and Cross had similarities to Nick Gage and Justice Payne, who were brothers, because me and Cross were always together, and kind of took us under our wing, and he started managing me at DWF in September 2010, and the first meeting I ever had with him, when they put me with him that night for the I believe it was a 6-man tag match, and they're like, Matt, we're going to put you with Laufe and in this group with 2 others. And when I walked up to Laufe, it was pretty first or second time I've met him, only in passing before during training, and he told me he was looking at me as far as what my gimmick was, pretty much similar to what I got now. It was just jeans, flannel, bandana, nothing too crazy. And he asked me what my name was, and at the time I was still Matt Justice, and he was like, that name sucks. He was like, and then he looked me down. He's like, all right, bandana, flannel. He's like, big, pretty big guy. So he's like, you look like a bulldozer. I'm like, okay. He's like, well, what's your real name? I'm like, Matt Tremont. He's like, Bulldozer Matt Tremont. So legit, probably the first or second time I met him on the spot, he gave me the name, the Bulldozer, and told me to use my real name. So since September 25th, 2010, upon the first or second meeting with Laufe, and I've been the Bulldozer since, and that was how we met.
That's a really cool story. Now, how did you guys form OPW? Because I know you guys kind of do that together.
Yeah. I think early, probably 2011, 2012, me and Laufe and I were helping. We started booking at DWF. They were doing weekly internet YouTube tapings, and this was during a time when DWF wasn't running live events because of zoning and variances and all that, so we were just running Beyond style tapings at the school, and a lot of the veterans at DWF couldn't come, so they gave the book to me and Laufe. So that was the first instance of that me and him had the opportunity to book a show and put together a card. And then we started helping another South Jersey company called Beast. They ran a handful of shows in the couple years that they ran, and we helped with them with promoting and booking and stuff like that. And things kind of fell through with those because the guys we were working with didn't really have a vision or a game plan, and we kind of got the back end of the stick on everything. So, but we looked at that time and opportunity we had doing a little bit of booking and a little bit of promoting. All right, we help these people out, and we got the short end of the stick, unfortunately. But we learned a lot in that process. So we're like, all right, why don't we take what we learned and started our own thing. And Lottie and I were living together at the time in Northeast Philly, and it legitimately just one day at home. I mean, every day we just sat at home and, after we were done work, and watched DCW all day. And Lottie came up with the name, like literally out of the blue. I'm sitting on the couch and he was sitting at the computer chair, and he was like, On Point Wrestling. And I'm like, I like it, sounds good. And literally that's how On Point came about. It was just a spur of the moment type thing. He came up with the name, and we had the passion to want to start our own brand and do our own thing. And before we even ran a live event in January 2013, we rented the DWF gym in Pennsauken, and we kind of did we did an 8-man tournament called the Mr. On Point tournament with a bunch of local guys from in the area, which still has never been released to this day. So I'm hoping this year, since Double Stomp Video is now shooting On Point, I finally have all the footage and content of all the stuff we've done. So hopefully that'll go out this year. But we did that. I think that was in May 2012, and then I'm like, all right. So and the name was out there. People were hitting us up about it, and then it became the time. All right, let's. The first show was called Now or Never. And that's how we looked at it. We're like, we're either going to do this now or never do it. So, apropos to, why we called the first show Now or Never. So, January 2013, we rented out the New Moon Rising Wrestling building in Deptford. The New Moon Rising Wrestling was running there full time, because originally we were going to run in Runnymede, but the building fell through. So like our first show, we had a bunch of problems and headaches, this was a week before the show. We lost our building, so we're scrambling, don't know what to do. Thankfully, I hit up Jake Bishop, who was running New Moon Rising Wrestling at the time. We're like, hey, we just lost our building. We're a week before our show. We've put money into advertising and promotion and all this. Can we work out an agreement to run our first show at your building? And we were able to do that, and then build a good relationship with them. And our first 3 shows were in Deptford, and now we're 4 years later, and we're going to celebrate 4-year anniversary this Sunday.
That's crazy how far you guys have come in 4 years. Now, is there a particular favorite moment you've had in 4 years? I'll give you mine, and they're a little more recent, but was the Louie show to help Low Life Louie out, which was really cool. And then the other one that's more recent was 100% Pure Deppin winning Masters of the Mat and your world title all in the same night.
Yeah, probably two of those. I would say three of the big moments to come out of 2016 were Low Life Louie finally winning a deathmatch tournament. He's a 20-year veteran of the business and never won a deathmatch tournament. Kind of was always a first-round guy. And in July, he in the finals came down to me and him, and he beat me. So that was like our first big moment of the year. And then he got hurt in September, so we did the Thank You Louie show. So we raised, over between the GoFundMe we did for him, and the show, and we were doing it whether he said no or not, because he never asked for a GoFundMe. Louie would never ask anybody for $1, and I'm like, he's done so much for me personally, and in the 19 years of sacrifice for this business, I'm like, we got to do something for Louie to give back. So I think we raised, between the two, about $3,000, which, he was out of work. He's missing out money to pay and provide for the family. And then, Masters of the Mat this past December, Deppin winning the tournament, and then on the fly winning the title in the same night. So definitely our 3 biggest moments of the year as far as On Point in 2016. I try to think of the early days, that were memorable and stick out to me of what I can remember off the top of my head. Definitely the first show, going into it, at that point in time, was it 2013? This is my first time as a promoter. Lottie, it's always been a 2-man show with him, with him and I. He's always been the booker as far as putting the matches together and the storylines. I've handled all the promotional and logistics and day-to-day running of the company, which is stuff I enjoy to do. People know me. I'm on Facebook and online all day promoting something. So he's always taken care of that, and I've always taken care of the other stuff. But looking back, our first show was very successful. We made money. We had a packed house. I wrestled Homicide on that card, and it was definitely the birth of something now we can we've put a lot of hard work into, and 4 years later we're still going. I think probably most memorable for me that just pops in my head when just as far as like memorable moments in the company's history. When Devin Moore debuted in 2015, it was I think it was the first time we did the lights off, lights on deal. And when the lights came on, Devin Moore was in the ring to save his longtime partner Drew Blood, which got an awesome pop and it made Devin feel really good. It was just a really good moment in on-point history. And then I'd probably say crowning our first champion, Oz Tyler, when he was with us, and then. Probably, I'd have to say, I guess for me personally, match-wise, when I wrestled Low Life Louie in 2014, when we were running in Sewell, we had a Fans Bring the Weapons match, and Louie was always one of the guys I looked up to and watched as a fan. So finally being able to work with him was a lot of fun. So a few memories from the early years of On Point.
Yeah, the reason I had mentioned Deppen is because he really came out of nowhere in the last calendar year, I would say, because he's even told this story at Masters of the Mat, where he was going to give it up, and his girl told him give it one more try, and you guys gave him a chance, and then one calendar year later, here he is as world champion at Masters of the Mat all in one night.
Yeah, he's Lottie is going back to when he found me and Cross, pretty much. He was the first guy to see something in us and give us an opportunity and take us under his wing. He's always had a keen eye for talent. So I remember when he showed me footage of Deppen that he got, and I think they met at a deathmatch tournament or something he attended. But same thing, Tony Deppen, a lot of guys that are hot and relevant now were an On Point before they even got to CZW and beyond and these other places. First to use Deppen, Jeff Cannonball, even Joey Janela was in On Point in 2013 before he even blew up elsewhere. So he's always had a keen eye for talent, and I think that's one of the things. We're not the biggest promotion in the world. We know our place and where we're at in the business, especially in this area because it's a very oversaturated area. But I think overall, we provide a platform for guys wanting that first opportunity so they can make a name for themselves so they can go on to CZWs and elsewhere. So we're kind of like a breeding developmental now for a lot, like for DJ, for because Deppen's in CZW now, Joey's in CZW now, so is Cannonball. So not that we take stake in their popularity or their success now, but I think we definitely had a small part in, hey, they got something and we were the first place to give him a platform to do it. So yeah, he's always had a keen eye for talent.
That's really cool. Well, I'm gonna run down the card we have here for Sunday. We just mentioned him. Unfortunately, Joey Janela will not be able to make it on the Sunday due to previous commitments, but you have a hell of a replacement with Leo Rush fighting 100% pure Deppen in the world title match for OPW.
Yeah, Joey was, 2 weeks ago we had to postpone and cancel, which was the first time we ever did in our 4 years, and we always, prided ourselves on not canceling any of our events or postponing anything events, but the 1 to 2 inches light dusting turned into a, full-blown, snow winter storm and the first of the season pretty much, and, unfortunately it was on the date of an On Point show, so yeah, we did everything we could so we could still run, 2 weeks ago, but at one point in time, I'm like, all right, we got to postpone the show, where guys aren't going to be able to make it, fans aren't going to be able to make it. So if we would have ran the show, there, like I said, was talking, before we started the show, we would have been running in front of 10 people, and our anniversary show should be special in front of a packed house. So that's why we, made the final call to, postpone the event and run this Sunday now. Joey was unavailable. He's at, believe he's at Alpha 1 in Canada this weekend. So it was, all right, what do we do? Our anniversary show every year is our WrestleMania event, and we start off our year, with our Mania event. So, Lottie did his due diligence, and, we went back and forth to see who was available, who's in town, and Leo Rusher originally hit us up for an availability or opportunity on January 7th, but the whole card was booked. Most of our cards are always booked in advance because we only run X amount of times in a year. So we're like, once we came into this, a hole we had on the 22nd, I hit Leo back up and he was available, and then it works out. It's the first time ever match. Leo Rush is on fire, Deppin's on fire, so I think it was definitely worthy of filling the spot of what Janelle and Deppin were going to be, and it could be even better. I think it's going to be a really good match, and then hopefully down the line, once we come back in March, Joey will still have his title rematch, but I think Deppin and Leo Rush are going to kill it, and that'll be our main event. Heavyweight championships on the line, so it should be a good main event on a memorable anniversary of the show.
I was just going to say that I think they'll tear the house down in the main event. You couldn't ask for two better talents to be in a main event. Now, you yourself are wrestling in the first ever Devil's Bullrope match with Drew Blood.
Yeah, this Drew Blood came up with the concept himself. Shoot outside of the angle itself. Drew hits me up and he's like, I got an idea for a new match, and we're trying to always do something innovative and different because so many matches and so many gimmicks have been done. In a traditional Texas Bull Rope match that it's violent in itself, we put a little twist on it. So we will take the traditional cowbell off the rope and replace it with a cheese grater, and we will put barbed wire on all four of the top turnbuckles because we'll do the traditional finish of where you have to touch all four turnbuckles in succession in order to win the match. So you really want to hit the turnbuckle to win the match, but at the same time you don't. So you're playing devil's advocate, because if you do, you're going to hit your hand with barbed wire, and then you get the cheese grater, your implement of violence on the rope to use at each other's violence. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's me and Drew Blood have a lot of history with each other. We've wrestled each other numerous times. Last time in On Point was Father's Day 2015. We had a match which was very hard hitting, violent match. So this one should be right up that alley, and the second of 7 On Point matches on the card this weekend.
I was going to say it's an innovative twist to the Bull Rope match where it's probably going to be more excessively violent than you would normally expect from a Texas Bull Rope match. Next, we actually have Cannonball, who was being with these weird videos that you guys put up on Facebook. Your Facebook page, it eventually turned out to be G Raver, so he's going to be facing him in a death match with cinder blocks and carpet strips.
Yeah, G Raver's another guy now. He's got a little bit of buzz behind him and willing to do craziness as far as the deathmatch stuff. So he's a guy we've been wanting to bring in for a while, and things worked out to bring him in for this show, and he put out the 2 awesome vignettes. Calling out, cryptically Jeff Cannonball. So yeah, it's not a first time ever match. They've wrestled before at VOW in West Virginia, so there's some history there. First time ever at On Point. They'll have, like you say, carpet strips and cinder blocks at their dismay to destroy and destruct each other. So two violent gimmick matches on the show, and those 2 I know won't disappoint. And I know Cannonball's pretty excited about it, and he's looking to steal the show. So that's going to be very violent and bloody.
I was just going to say that for those that are attending, you can expect a lot of blood and violence and whatever you want to call it. All right, next we have on the card, if I can understand my damn handwriting, is a first time ever match, because I saw this. It's Kefka the Quiet against Too Hot Steve Scott.
Yeah, Steve Scott's been pretty regular performer and on point now, and he's been killing it in anybody in every match he's been in. Kefka's I think the last time we saw Kefka was at the Thank You Louie show with him and Billy Avery's monumental clash. So now good to have Kefka back. Like I said, Steve Scott's been killing it. So it's either mime time or selfie time on Sunday. So I think that'll be a very entertaining and different match from the rest of the card. It'll be really good.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's the battle of the mime and the selfie stick. That should be very entertaining. Next, we have another tag match with Drake Chambers and Unbreakable Andy against Alex Payne and Pel Primo.
These four guys in particular, I'll try to highlight all of them the best I can. Unbreakable Andy came in with Deppen because at the same time Deppen's had a lot of success in the last year, and I think a lot of that is credited to working with Andy. So I don't want Andy to get lost in the mix of all that. So in as much praise as Deppen's been getting, Unbreakable Andy should just get as that much or more because they had some of the show stealing matches in 2016 that we had, and then he wrestled Drake Chambers, I believe, in September. It was Drake's debut, and another relative unknown. I think he's the only other company I knew that he worked for was UWA Elite up in South River, New Jersey. So another instance of Laude having a keen eye on talent. Some of the boys speaking up for him, like, hey, this kid's pretty good. Why don't we give him a shot? And him and I believe it was the opening match of September too. And I think they went about 15 minutes, and they did everything under the sun. But it was a really good match, and the kid brought it and showed the potential he had, and he earned a job that night for, he's on the on-point roster from now on. I believe at Masters of the Mat, it was those two and Alex Payne in a three-way, and Payne has been an on point for a while now. A former partner and protege and friend, Shane Hagedorn, came back as well, along with Pelly Primo. And if people forget who Pelly Primo was, he was a Ring of Honor top prospect at one point in time, I think 2007. Pelly Primo was trained by CM Punk and Bryan Danielson. This guy's no slouch in the ring, a veteran in the business, a guy who early on, probably around 2011, booked me and Cross for a show up in PA, and I was always indebted and thankful for that. And this guy, he knows his shit, man. He's really, really good. And him and Payne have some issues. Hagedorn's trying to bring it all together and make them a cohesive unit. So it's a tag team grudge match. There's a discrepancy between the four, and they will air their grievances in the ring this Saturday, and I think it's gonna be a really good match.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just a note on Unbreakable Andy. He was in the finals of Masters of the Mat with Deppen, and they had a phenomenal match. So like you said, he's really not a slouch in any sense of the word. Next, we have a first ever match with Xavier Cross and Kyle the Beast.
Yeah, this one's probably definitely the most interesting match on the card. Cross has been with us since day one. Again, like we said, we both broke in the business together, so we've been in the business. I think today's the 19th, so next Friday, the 27th, he and I have both been in the wrestling business for 10 years now. We went to high school together and have been doing this crazy business now for 10 years. So, and Kyle the Beast, he's been killing it everywhere. He's been GCW heavyweight champion right now. He's been killing it at On Point. Killed it at Masters of the Mat too. I thought him and Arcadia had one of the better matches in the tournament. So yeah, first time ever clash. I think what was promoted, Laude wanted a beast of an opponent for his beast, and I don't think he was intending on actually having a beast face his client in Xavier Cross with Kyle the Beast. So that should be a very good, should be a styles clash. And definitely a really good opponent for Xavier Cross, for him to show that, because a lot of people just see the character stuff with him, and that he can go and he can wrestle, and I think he's starting to have those matches now, so people can see that he can work too. Like he wrestled Akuma at the tournament, so this is another match for Cross to really show his skills that he has and his set. And Kyle the Beast one word, he's a beast.
I was going to say with Laude, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, yes.
All right, so the last match, and certainly not least, is one of the matches to start the Unlimited title tournament to crown an Unlimited title champion later on this year, with Sean Carr, Arcadia, Devin Moore, and Grand Akuma.
It was the whole. I think the whole concept with the Unlimited title. It was another brainchild of someone else in the locker room, Drew Blood, and we had an idea to make this title exclusive for our stable match, the Fantastic Four-Way, which is our staple match of every show, and it has stolen the show many of times. So we're like, let's come up with a concept and a title that is exclusive for the four-ways, that makes the four-ways that much more important, and it's a secondary singles title, but it has its own identity and makes it important and doesn't take away from the heavyweight title. So the Unlimited title, the road to the Unlimited title, will start this Sunday, and I think so. Basically, the next 4 shows will each have a 4-way match on them, and then the winner of those 4-ways over the course of the next 4 shows will meet most likely in the fall. That final 4-way will fall on, and then we will crown the first On Point Unlimited champions, and have like the 4-ways have been, any style, open weight, anybody can get in them. So it truly is unlimited, and hopefully I think it's going to be a good, exciting twist on the 4-ways, and they're already exciting as well. The debuting Sean Carr, the veteran Devin Moore, Grand Akuma, who's looking to get back on the winning track after being undefeated for a year, masters the mat, and now losing in the tournament. So he's definitely looking to come back and get a good start. And Arcadia, who's been an On Point now for a couple of shows, been killing it. And what better way to kick off 2017 than to solidify yourself and have that spot in the final 4-way later this year to become the first Unlimited champion.
Those 4 talents should really tear the house down. Like you said, there's a good mix of the veterans and younger talent. So that's something that, if you guys are going to get there, you will really, really enjoy. Now, before we get out of here, Bulldozer, how can people reach you on social